Hi, my name is Jesse Goldberg, and welcome to the show. Today we're going to talk about the resurgence of vinyl. That is this stuff right here that looks like this. It comes in one of these records, and it comes out like that. Resurgence of vinyl. Why vinyl? Why? I mean, it's like I thought it was dead. Peyton, my guests today are Peyton, just Peyton. That should be a name, just Peyton.
Just Peyton.
Just Peyton. Jamie, just Jamie. Jamie Manning, star of It's a Rough Life, with rave reviews.
Yeah.
And Nick Leuthauser.
Hello.
Okay. Anyway, why is vinyl coming back? What's going on? I'll start with you this time.
Well, being the generation that grew up.
You're the young one.
I'm the young one.
Like you're like, what, 18 or something?
No, older than that.
Well, you're
Slightly.
something like that.
Yeah, I grew up in the generation where the first iPod came out and the MP3 was the big deal. And, you know, having a hard drive full of just words is not as personal as having a tangible object with album artwork and liner notes, and you can touch it and you can smell it, and there's kind of a, you have to put forth an effort.
But you grew up with CDs, you could touch and smell.
It's different because I don't really know how to explain it. It's just there's more of an effort you have to put in listening to the record than a CD. You kind of have to be connected because you have to be present because you know eventually you're going to have to flip the record over. And with a CD, you just kind of put it on and disappear.
Right, but you were kind of born in like the wrong generation.
Yeah.
Because you're a big Beatles fan.
Probably the biggest.
The biggest Beatles fan.
That I know anyway.
Right.
I'm just saying something.
Do you know Jesse?
Sorry.
Yeah.
Bring it on.
Bring it on.
Bring it on.
All right, Jamie.
Yeah, what she said.
What? Yeah,
What?
but you're part of an older generation. You're an old guy. Not as old as me.
No,
but
no,
I mean,
not that old. No, but
Right.
no, records are just cool. You know, you can touch them, you can feel them. You know, you can look at these wonderful covers. You know, and when you open up a new one.
What about the scratches and the pops and all that kind of stuff?
Well,
You're not taking
you
care
got
of the
it.
records very
That's
well
why
then.
when someone touches your records, you say,
Like I
"Give me
did.
that record back," and
I
keep
didn't
your
touch
hands
a
on
vinyl.
it.
This is the proper way to do it. You take it out like this. Anybody see me? Yeah,
Hey.
you can see. Take it out, put your hand there, and see, I'm not
All right.
touching the vinyl. Never
Okay.
touch the vinyl.
See, if
Keep it
it's clean as
horizontal.
that, it'll sound good.
Yeah, and then you can hear Boris Karloff over and over again.
Now, spoken word records like that, you know,
We'll get
definitely.
into that. We'll get into that in a second. And Nick, what do you think? Why vinyl? Why not CDs? So you buy everything though.
Well,
I mean,
I don't know.
you buy if it's for sale, you buy it usually.
yeah, I mean, I own a lot of vinyl plus a lot of 45s and 78 RPMs too. But,
You still listen to the 78? You're just a Nicky. You're like a hoarder like me, right?
to a
Just so you
certain
say you
extent.
have it, right?
Partly that, but I do play them.
You do.
Sure.
It's not a hoarder if it's the same thing. So if it's a lot of records, it's a collection or a hobby. It's not like
Really?
he has dead cats, you know, walking over his record collection like on the TV show.
So I'm not a hoarder?
You're not a hoarder.
You're a businessman.
I'm a businessman. That's right. I'm an eBay salesman.
You're an enthusiast.
Enthusiast. All right, so let's go through some of this stuff, your favorite music. Let's start this way. Peyton, your favorite music, obviously the Beatles, right?
The Beatles, the Stones, the Kinks, the Who, Led Zeppelin, the Faces. Just have gone through a Todd Rundgren and T-Rex phase the last 2 days. Anything, if it happened before 1979, I probably own it and I probably am obsessed with it. That's the safest way to.
But what's the matter with the music after 1979?
Well, I'm not allowed to swear on television, so I'll give you the G-rated version. Once music became electronic, meaning once it kind of hit to the 80s, I mean, with the exception of a few that did it right, like Elvis Costello and some people like that, it kind of lost its sex appeal to me. You know, there's not really, I don't know, when you look at Led Zeppelin and Jimmy Page is up there and he's sweaty and he's disgusting and Robert Plant's got his hair and you can hear that in the record, and then you kind of go off to like She Blinded Me with Science, and it doesn't sound as
You know what I think when I was
chick-friendly to me.
when I listen to old Rolling Stones records, I hear all the mistakes, and there's a lot. They didn't care if they made mistakes.
Well, when you hear mistakes, I hear, you know, Keith Richards is, you know, probably drunk.
Right, but they
And-
left it on the record.
Yeah, and you know, but knowing what was going on at the time, you know, if I listen to Exile on Main Street, I know where they were in their headspace, and it makes it more personal. I don't know. I just kind of feel like I have an inside to what was happening when the record was being made.
Wow.
That and Keith Richards really can't do any wrong in my book, so I don't call them mistakes.
Oh, okay. What about you, Jamie?
What more can I say? I mean, she said it all.
She's like the perfect girl.
Yeah, and she's into all the same groups
right.
I'm into.
Yeah.
You know,
So what do
exception of the later Led Zeppelin and all of that. But but the Kinks. That's the greatest band that ever was.
The Kinks?
All right.
The greatest band ever was?
That's for me.
Better than Herman's Hermits?
Hey
Yes. Even though Herman's Hermits sold a lot more in their day.
Yeah.
For that 2-year span, maybe.
Mrs.
Hey,
Brown.
Peter Noon was 14 when he started.
Peter Noon was great. I went to see him.
He was doing all right for a 14-year-old.
I like Peter Noon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I like all.
That's
I
Herman,
like
by the way, for anybody who doesn't know.
But I like the other music from the 70s as well, the more progressive stuff. And like Jethro Tull.
Well, you're a big Alice Cooper person. You met Alice Cooper.
Yes,
right.
I did.
We'll get to that story in a second. Nick, what about you?
What about me?
What kind of music do you like? What's your favorite music?
Oh, there's so much. I collect such a broad area that I guess what I like the most is surf and garage band stuff from the 60s, because that's what I grew up with.
Well, you collected a lot of the weird stuff that I collect. Like I saw you had a Mae West record in there that I have.
Right.
Just records by strange people. Like, maybe we should start holding some of this stuff up. What do you think? Right?
Personalities.
Yeah, personality. Here's Jamie's record, Boris Karloff.
If you're gonna,
right?
If you're gonna get into Alice Cooper later on in life, you got to start with
Boris Karloff.
Yeah.
All right, tell me the Alice Cooper story.
Well,
Oh,
give
you
me,
want
give
the
me some
Boris
of their
Karloff?
records.
What? Yeah.
No,
You
give
wanna
me
do it?
the Alice Cooper record.
Well, I was going to let Peyton do it. Let's let Peyton do it because
Well, yeah, but
she loves records.
all right.
Peyton, you can be in charge of
Okay.
holding this stuff up.
Well, he's the one telling the story, so
Okay.
Yeah, it does.
careful.
Anyhow,
Yeah, after I ruined
that
your
one you
Alice Cooper
crush
record.
that record,
I know.
Yeah.
Anyway, way before my time. But after I became an Alice Cooper fan, I went and
Hold
bought
on,
all
we
the
didn't get
albums.
it. Hold on a second.
Here.
That's all right. There's too
All right.
many of them.
All right, too many of them. All
We
right.
have that one.
There's too many of them.
This is not worth wasting time on
No.
Alice Cooper. I don't
Hey,
even like
now.
Alice Cooper. You like Alice Cooper? Did I say something wrong?
He has long hair,
You did.
tight pants,
And he's
half
sweaty.
it, and he's disgusting
And he's sweaty. You
and-
hear him on the
I
vinyl.
used to have long hair.
And why wouldn't you want to bring that home to mom?
Now, when I first saw that, I
wouldn't bring
I
him
was
home to
frightened.
Mom.
Oh, I would. And I actually have brought a few people home to mom that look like that. Sorry, mom.
Wow. Well,
But
tell your
these
Alice
guys,
Cooper
these
story.
guys used to scare me.
Before he
actually.
went home with Mom with Peyton.
But my
whatever.
friend, a lot of people started with School's Out. They first
All
heard.
right, how did you get to meet Alice Cooper?
All right, you got to start with this album right here,
Right,
$1 Billion Babies.
right.
Great album. First Alice Cooper album I ever owned. My grandmother bought it for me, which Alice
Grandmother
thought was
bought it.
kind of odd. It comes with the little,
Comes
the
with the
little
doll- okay.
giant $1 billion
You just don't get that with an MP3.
record. No, and here's
Or a
another
CD.
thing. I have this on CD as well, and there's no giant
Okay,
$1
Jamie,
billion
you're taking too
bill.
long. How did you get to meet Alice Cooper?
Okay,
Crazy.
my mother was a picker, but they didn't call them pickers back then. She went and bought and sold things.
Right.
She went to garage
bet your
sales.
mother.
One day she went to a garage sale, and this woman had a gold record award for $1 Billion Babies.
Right.
And she said she got it at a beach house on Fire Island, and it was left abandoned, the record was, at the beach house when the Alice Cooper entourage, which I later learned was only Shep Gordon, Alice Cooper's manager.
Right.
So anyway, so she came home with the gold record, and I was like, if you're going to come home with a gold record, I mean, that was the one I wanted you to come home with. It was just amazing.
Right.
So I gave her $20 for it.
You did? She sold it to you?
Yeah.
Your own mother sold it to you?
Well, she's probably paid 10. I wasn't.
Oh, your mother's making money on you.
I got a lot of stuff from Mom, but anyway, hung it up on the wall, left it there for 15 years. It was like I was so proud of it.
Right.
Then I read the book Golf Monster that Alice Cooper wrote
Right.
about his career, drinking, and golf. Wasn't that interested in the golf part,
They all go hand in hand.
but I had a friend in alcohol rehab at the time, and I mailed him the the Golf Monster book, figured it would help him with his alcoholism, since Alice Cooper got over his drinking problem. It's been recovered for many, many years. I decided to send Alice Cooper an email. And I got the email address off of one of the more recent albums, sent him an email and said, you know, I enjoyed your book, Golf Monster. By the way, I have Shep Gordon's $1 Billion Babies Gold Record Award that he left at a beach house in Fire Island, New York. The next day, I got an email from Alice Cooper's personal assistant, a guy named Kyler. And he said, well, we just happen to be up at the Horseshoe Casino tomorrow in Indiana. If you'd like to give Shep his gold record, he'll be there.
Well, you're losing $20 on the
I
deal.
know, and I was like, oh, man, I got to give it to him?
Give it to him. Gold records go like $150 or something.
Oh, no, it's more than that. But anyway.
200? What did it go for?
I don't want to say. I
Oh
don't
my
want to say
God.
because
Let's get to the quick. Let's get to this.
So where's the
You take it
pictures?
too long to
Where
get
are the
to this.
pictures?
I don't know.
You buried the
Tell me what
pictures.
happened. You gave it to him?
Right there.
So anyway, so I
gave
got
it to
there
him?
the next day.
You gave it to him?
I got there the next day.
You were a sucker. You gave it to him, and that was the end of it,
And
right?
basically, yeah, and I said, well, if I'm going to give you this, you know, maybe I can get a, you know, backstage pass. And I went up there with my
Here's a
wife.
picture
We
of
both
Jamie
saw
and
the
Alice Cooper.
concert. Yeah, that's me with Alice.
Can you get that?
So I met with Shep before the concert, gave him the Gold
There you
Record
go.
Award, met a few people.
And that's it?
Met Steve Hunter, the guitar player who also played on $1 Billion Babies.
What's the gold record worth?
I saw one sell at auction that was issued to the just to Warner Brothers Records, like the executives,
Right.
for $1,000.
But you gave $1,000 to him for a picture?
I know, right?
Alice Cooper.
But yeah,
Well, who would do that?
but it wasn't mine. It was his.
It belongs
Yeah,
to
but
you.
it wasn't.
It was. I had it for 15 years, hanging on my wall.
Yeah, but you
It's a good
lost
story.
$980
I
on
know.
the
It's a
thing.
great story, though. Where are you going to get a story
I'm
like
not
that?
investing with you when you go to the stock
I
market.
know, right?
Nick, let's hear one of your stories here. Let's see some of Nick's stuff that you brought along.
That's none of it's there.
That's a terrible story, Jerry.
Jesse doesn't believe in karma. I think it's a great story.
Thank you. Thank you.
Horrible
See?
story. Get rid of that
Gee whiz.
Alice Cooper. He gypped you. I'm never going to go to Alice Cooper concert. No matter how sweaty he is.
Yeah, I got a
All right, what's some of this
concert.
stuff?
Okay, I decided to bring some Lenny Bruce albums.
Lenny Bruce.
This is his first album.
Well, this one's the red vinyl one, right?
Yeah, the first three, I have the
I
red
knew this
vinyl
one. See,
version.
red vinyl. See, that's pretty cool, red vinyl.
But I always like the covers, they're so outrageous.
Red vinyl.
He's picnicking in it.
Who's Lenny Bruce, for the people who don't know?
He was a comedian that broke barriers in the 60s and got involved with heroin and ended up
Dead.
ODing.
Very VH1 behind the music.
And got to get Dustin Hoffman an Oscar. These are all Lenny Bruce albums.
Yep.
I think you went overboard with Lenny Bruce here.
Oh, okay.
Lenny Bruce. Okay, what's so special about
I
this
brought
Mary
this-
Wells album?
Well, I brought this one because it's Mary Wells sings Beatles songs.
Oh, that's cool. Did you ever see this, Peyton?
Love
Yes.
songs
You've seen
to
this?
the Beatles.
Mary Wells sings the Beatles songs?
Are you asking me if I've seen something related to the Beatles?
And he's got two
Wow.
of them, so I guess one of them's for sale.
Well, this
YouTube.
one, the cover's slightly different. It's actually a Capitol Record Club pressing.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, Mary Wells.
Another Mary Wells on the same
Then
label.
they're on you, Nick.
Then I brought in a bunch of Swamp Dog.
Who's
I like
Swamp
him.
Dog?
He's a
get
artist. His name is Little Jerry Williams, and he had 45s in the 60s, and
Swamp
later
Dog.
adopt Swamp Dog name.
Swamp Dog? Well, who is this guy? What's
Before
with
Snoop
Swamp
Dogg
Dog?
did it.
Have you ever heard of Swamp Dog? Have
No,
you
I
ever heard of
not.
Swamp Dog, Pete?
No,
I have
not.
never heard of
I
Swamp
have
Dog.
now.
Here's
Nick
his
is-
masterwork, Total Destruction.
Looks like
to
he's got
Your
no
Mind.
clothes on in this one. I'm not going to show that one.
And he appeared.
You got an autographed Swamp Dog?
Yeah, he appeared here in the late 90s. So
Did you
I
get
got
this
him
autograph
autographed.
yourself?
Yeah, he signed
way
it
to
for
do
me.
it.
Autographed Swamp Dog, and nobody knows who he is.
Well, we're trying to educate the public.
Okay, we got Moby Grape.
Yeah, I got this recently. It's the first album, and it's mono, and it's got the poster inside.
Oh, okay.
But it's
Something else you can't get in a CD is a
Yeah,
poster
posters.
stuck
That was
inside of it.
that's true.
but it's the uncensored one.
What's this record right here? Oh my God, it's a Jesse Goldberg record. Honeymoon
Oh.
Time.
No, so he's turning this
Just
into
throw that one in
a,
there, okay.
I recently got this. This
That
Rivers.
is
Joan
hysterical.
Rivers' first
never seen
album
this
from
one.
the 60s.
I've seen Joan Rivers records, but this
Joan
one,
Rivers has body parts on her that are younger than I am.
And
We
I
got-
got this recently. It's a
fabulous.
game. It's got concentric grooves, so when you put the needle down, you don't know what number you're going to get.
Really? Oh, that's cool. And then we got this one. I've listened to this one actually.
And,
Mae West, she does Twist and Shout.
She
And
also
Day
does
Tripper.
A Day Tripper. Have
Shakin'
you ever heard
All
this?
Over.
It's pretty
I've
good.
heard it, yeah, but I didn't know that
I never.
it was a full record.
Yeah. Mae West, she must have been like 75 then or something.
Get
Well,
it, May?
Looking
anyway, the
good.
point is that everybody had made records. Can you name some of the weirdest records that you had? I mean, did everybody like Hugh O'Brien, Robert Mitchum, all those. Festus, the guy who Festus made records, you know, from Gunsmoke.
Yeah, and you know.
Who else off the top of your head? Can you name any, Jamie? Weird people making records?
Well, you made
no,
one.
but they put all kinds of people on covers of records, you know.
Well, it's,
Yeah, Jane Mansfield records. I
Right,
collect a lot
she's
of
on
them.
cover. She's on record she wasn't singing on, you know.
Yeah.
She doesn't
And I
need
have
to
a
sing.
record here that with Betty Page on the cover. There
Where's
was
that?
3 of
Get
them that
that.
I know of.
Get
I
the
don't know,
Betty
you
Page
threw it
record.
in the pile here.
Get
I
that Betty
lost
Page
it.
record.
I lost it.
Oh.
It's here. I'm getting it.
Oh, let's go back to Peyton here. So Peyton, what do you think?
What do I think about what?
About the difference in vinyl between vinyl and analog and all that stuff. You know.
Oh, you don't want to open that can of worms. Let's talk about Betty Page. She's
All
right
right.
here. She's
I'm really
another
proud of that record,
brunette
you know.
Nashvilleian with bangs.
and it's actually some good music.
Yeah.
Well, but it's not really Fats Waller. It's people playing Fats Waller.
Oh, okay.
And Halo was a discount label.
But who cares? Look at that.
And the one you see more often is her with the cheetah,
Yeah.
the 2 cheetah.
What is
This
anybody
one's-
looking for? What are you looking for on vinyl, Nick? Or what something that you don't have that you've always wanted? Or Peyton, what about you?
The Butcher
You don't
record.
answer fast.
You don't have a Butcher cover?
I have
I've
heard,
had 3 of them.
No, I've heard every story about people that'll go to Grimey's and they'll say, oh, I found yesterday and today for 99 cents in the bargain bin and I got it home and it was a Butcher record. And I have yet to have that happen to me.
Have you ever had one, owned one?
No, I have not.
No, I
Oh.
never had one either.
I had 3 of them.
I have
You're
several
special.
yesterday and today's that are steamed off because I thought surely I'd be the one to.
Well, you can
find-
see. You can see. We're talking about the Butcher cover that was. It was the Beatles. The Beatles had
yesterday
those.
and today.
They did a record cover that where they
Right.
were covered in raw meat and pieces of baby doll parts
Right.
because they were trying to kind of stick it to the man, to their, their
I used to try to
company.
stick it to the man, but now I'm the man.
You are the man.
Yeah, you're right.
And the record company didn't like it, so they posted a more appropriate picture,
right.
on top of it, where they're all actually really stoned, and you can tell the picture that they are. But they thought that was more appropriate. Now they call it the Butcher cover, and it is the most coveted record in the Beatle community.
Right.
And that's the one thing I don't
Well,
own.
well, you know how to find it, though, right? If you
I
look
know what
on the
to look
right-hand
for.
side, you can see Ringo's
Tur-
black turtleneck.
Yeah.
Right.
Because
I
they're all wearing
found
they're
3
all
of them.
wearing lab coats. They've got black turtlenecks, but they have lab coats on. So
They
the
have
black-
lab coats on the.
Yeah, like
yesterday and
white
today?
lab
Butcher
coats.
coats.
They're like Butcher.
No, I'm
yeah.
talking about
Butcher
on
smocks.
the yesterday and today.
And they also
part.
thought that the cover on top of it was the first instance of Paul being dead, but that's a whole other show.
Paul. Is
Because
Paul
he's in
dead?
a coffin.
No,
If I
thankfully,
ever
he's
met
still
Paul
alive.
McCartney, I said, "Are you really Paul McCartney?"
Yeah,
Why
you
does it
would.
say 28 if on the
Yeah.
back of Abbey
He would have
Road?
been
I
28.
think
if
you
he
would do a
Right.
Jackie Gleason, and you'd be hamming, 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 hamming.
Humana.
He's dead to me.
He's dead to you. Oh man.
So.
That's
But anyway,
did
I'm
you hear
looking
that?
for like
I heard
fighting
it. I'm
words.
biting my tongue.
It's fighting words. What are you looking for?
original releases, you know, with the covers that they discontinued.
Right. I
with
just
the-
got the first, well, it was when they were the Small Faces, but the first Small Faces record original, and it was sealed, and the person I bought it from had no idea.
Was Rod Stewart in the Paces? Begin with?
No, this is Small Places. You know, when Steve Marriott left,
Yeah.
they hired Rod Stewart and Ron Wood, which weren't short like the rest of the guys. They had to change their name. They had to drop the small. They became the Faces.
Oh, that's why? Because Ron Wood was tall?
Yeah, so was Rod Stewart, yeah.
Rod
didn't know
Stewart's
that.
about
Compared to
5'8".
all those other guys, yes.
He's 5'8"?
Rod Stewart is about
So you
5'8",
bet
5'9".
Well, how about
Well,
the guy?
compared to 5'6", I guess they were tall.
Yeah.
In England, this
In-
is. Come on, yeah. This is.
They're all shorter over there.
What about you, Nick? What record are you looking for?
Oh, I've been looking for this one album since the 60s. It's by Del Close. It's called How to Talk Hip. It's
all
on
need
Mercury, I believe. But
Have you ever looked on the internet for it?
That's
no.
cheating.
But he was in Second City in Chicago, and he's been in a number of movies, sort of around the periphery of fame.
Well, here's a record that I brought with me. It's Sebastian Cabot doing Bob Dylan record. You know, everybody had this one? You know that record?
See,
Sebastian
after
Cabot.
you have everything, you start buying stuff like that.
That's right.
That's
Exactly.
Just
right.
like that's why I got all
That's right.
the Boris Karloff stuff. and
Right.
the,
After
you
you,
know,
after you got a lot of stuff, you start buying
you look for
ridiculous
something different, you
I'm
know.
not
Yeah.
there yet.
Stuff. You're not? How about just buying stuff with girls on the cover? That's called cheesecake.
Right, yeah, I
Right.
got a whole section of that. But
I've
you
got
won't let me
some
show
here
that
if you
stuff.
want to
No.
see it.
But
I've got some here if you want to see
but
it.
there's like a lot of bad records, like Billy Vaughn, and I shouldn't say it's bad, but you know, it's like just girls. on
They
the cover.
played those records in men's clubs, where they really weren't men's
Not
clubs like
that
we
kind of-
know them
no,
today.
not that kind of
They were
thing.
like at the
Just-
lodges.
No, any kind of record, just with a girl on the cover. You know what
We're
that
going
is?
to talk about
cheesecake?
these
Any record with any girl on the cover that does
Girl,
not.
like the cheesecake, like that whipped cream record. is like-
Vixens of Vinyl.
Here's volume 1
There
and
you go.
2.
Oh,
This
that's
is not
nice.
cheesecake. This is dirt.
No, this is nice. You got two of them?
This is like. You got two of these things?
You want to sell one, right?
This isn't
No, there's
cheesecake.
volume 1 and volume
Oh,
2.
come on, they look the same.
No.
Come on.
How about this one?
Yeah, this is.
Are we going to show these or
We
what? Are
can
you
show
just going
this
to look
one, I
at them?
guess.
We
This
can't
is
show that?
cheesecake. This is cheesecake.
Side boob.
Cheesecake. Girl like in provocative poses and things like that. Come back to Sorrento. Angelo and his orchestra.
Why wouldn't you come back?
Hey,
What's this?
Santa, watch your claws.
It's a comedy album.
A lot of times those Cheesecake albums were comedy albums. And
Bought at The Great Escape on 3/22/13. All right, we've shown enough albums. Let's talk about the future. Now, you think that this is just a fad, right?
I think new artists releasing their stuff on vinyl is a fad because anytime that a business or an industry starts kind of slipping, they look to the past to see what kind of worked. And I know a lot of people out there that are making records, digitally recording them, or on analog and spending a lot of money and then paying to have it pressed, which is costing them a small fortune, and then no one wants to buy it. Or if they do buy it, they don't sell enough to break even, and the artist goes broke. And like I mentioned before, it's very VH1 behind the music. They slip off into drug addiction, band breaks up, all that Spinal Tap stuff. So I collect vinyl because, obviously you said it earlier, I kind of feel like I was born in the wrong era. This is kind of my touchstone to that time period. For instance, the other day, we've all heard the Stones song, Satisfaction, a million times, probably thousands in our lifetime. But I was at the Great Escape and I'm flipping through singles and I thought I should probably own that one, the original
On
English.
London.
Yeah, and I got it home and I thought I'd just put it on for background music, and I put the needle down and I got chills up my spine. And you hear that song on oldies radio all the time. I was listening to it in the form it was meant to be heard in. And some kid probably saved up his allowance for a week to buy that single. And that single changed the world. And that's what kind of gave me that goosebumps all over. I can't say that I've had that feeling with a new record, because I have bought several re-releases or different artists that put out
Well, have you ever
LPs.
heard a Jesse Goldberg record? I mean, that kind of gives people goosebumps.
I don't know if that's
Is
in a
that
good way.
available on 180-gram vinyl?
Not yet.
Oh,
Not yet.
okay,
yet.
because those new vinyl records, a lot of them
we
are
have
very
a few minutes
expensive.
left.
Yeah.
Peyton just talked about the goosebump thing. What gives you goosebumps now, and what do you really like to listen to? What would give
Oh,
you?
I don't know. I listen to the old stuff I used to listen to when I was
But
younger, or I
what
listened to
particular
new
song?
stuff.
Name one song that would like Peyton said.
Name one song.
Yeah. Can you name one? How about you, Nick? Can you name one
see,
song?
you know.
I can name a song that always cheers me up when I listen to it. Penny Lane.
How can you
Always.
be miserable listening to Penny
I mean,
Lane?
it always cheers me up. Every time I hear that song, it cheers me up. I remember exactly where I was when I heard it the first time. You know, I remember the reel-to-reel tape recorder. It came out 2 weeks before. I mean, it was on the radio 2 weeks before it came out. I remember this little tiny reel-to-reel tape recorder. I taped it, and it sounded terrible, but I listened to it over and over again when it came out.
I don't know, I've had MC5 songs in my head the last few days, you know. And I didn't discover them until much later on. You know, of course, they were long gone by the time I was a teenager.
Story of my life.
And that was a long time ago.
What about you, Nick?
Yeah, I like this one, 45 from the 60s by the Elastic Band. They do a politically incorrect song called Spaz.
Oh, that was on one of those.
And that gives you goosebumps?
Sure.
Why is it politically incorrect? Is it about
Talking
Spaz
about
is-
Spaz.
a guy who's kind of a spaz?
You don't call
know?
people spaz anymore.
You don't?
It's the S word, one of the S words.
Oh.
Really?
You
I
can't
don't
use any
think-
words anymore. There's an A word, B word, C word, D word, E word, F word, G word.
Right. Today the song would be, he's different.
The
He needs
J
Ritalin.
word.
Different.
Huh? We're about to wrap this up, but thank you guys for coming over. We're gonna do a whole nother show with 3 different people with 3 different points of view, 3 different other points of view of what we just did. So, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having us.
All right. Anyway, my guests have been Peyton, just Peyton. We have Jamie Manning. We have Nick Leuthauser
And
and Jesse Goldberg, who was,
That's how you say that.
of course, did this record
was
back in
wondering that.
1984, and we'll be back next week with another edition of the show.